Your phone buzzes. You see your boss's name on the screen. You haven't read the message yet, but your heart is already pounding. Your palms are already damp. Something in your chest has already decided this is bad. And here's the strange part. You don't know what the message says. You have no information at all. Your body reacted before your mind had anything to react to. Why would evolution build you this way? Why would you be wired to suffer before you even know if there's something to suffer about? The answer isn't really about your boss. It isn't about your phone. It's about a survival system that is hundreds of thousands of years older than either of those things, and it never got the memo that the world changed. Start with what's actually happening inside you in that moment. Your amygdala, a small almond-shaped cluster of neurons buried deep in your brain, has one job above all others. It scans for threat. Not confirmed threat. Possible threat. The neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades mapping this exact circuit, and what he found reshaped how we understand fear. The amygdala doesn't wait for your conscious mind to analyze a situation. It reacts first, and it reacts fast, often before the thinking parts of your brain have even finished processing what's in front of you. That's the part most people know. But here's what most people don't know. The amygdala doesn't need a real threat to fire. It only needs uncertainty. Uncertainty, to your ancient brain, is treated as danger. Not maybe danger. Actual danger. Because for nearly your entire evolutionary history, uncertainty usually was danger. Picture your ancestors on the savannah 100,000 years ago. A sound comes from the tall grass. They don't know what made it. Could be wind. Could be a leopard. They have no time to gather more information. They have no luxury of waiting to confirm. The humans who survived, generation after generation, were the ones whose bodies reacted to the unknown sound as if it were already the leopard. Racing heart, tightened muscles, blood rushing to the legs. All of it before any leopard was ever seen. The humans who waited for certainty before reacting. They often didn't get to pass on their genes. So you inherited the nervous system of the ones who flinched first and asked questions later. Now bring that back to your phone. Your boss's name on the screen is the sound in the grass. You don't know what it means yet. And because you don't know, your ancient threat system fills in the blank the same way it always has. It assumes the worst, because assuming the worst kept your ancestors alive. This is called anticipatory anxiety, and it has a very specific signature in the body. The psychologist and neuroscientist Lisa Feldman Barrett has spent much of her career studying how the brain doesn't just detect emotions. It actually predicts and constructs them, moment to moment, using past experience as its raw material. Your brain isn't a passive reader of reality. It's constantly guessing what's about to happen, and then building a felt experience to match that guess, often before the real event has even arrived. That's why the racing heart comes before the bad news. Your brain already ran the simulation. It already decided, based on past patterns, what an unread message from your boss probably means. And it started preparing your body for that imagined future, not the actual one. Here's where it gets stranger. Your body cannot always tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. The primatologist Robert Sapolsky, who spent years observing wild baboons in Kenya, documented something remarkable about social stress in primates. Baboons don't face lions every day. Most of their stress responses aren't about physical survival at all. They're about social uncertainty. Where do I stand in the group? Is that other baboon a threat to my position? Sapolsky found that these animals could trigger the exact same stress hormones from a purely social worry as they would from an actual predator. Sound familiar? You are not so different. An unread message. An unanswered text. A pause before someone responds to what you just said. None of these are physical dangers. But your body treats the uncertainty itself as the danger. and it responds with the same chemical cascade your ancestors used to survive an actual predator. Cortisol rises. Your heart rate increases. Your muscles tense, ready for something that isn't a lion, isn't even necessarily bad news, and might just be your boss asking what time the meeting is. Why hasn't this system updated? Why hasn't evolution caught up with a world of text messages instead of tall grass? Because evolution is slow and modern life is fast. The gap between how quickly your environment changed and how quickly your nervous system can change is enormous. 200,000 years of your brain learning that uncertainty equals danger. Barely 2 decades of living inside a world where uncertainty mostly means an email hasn't loaded yet. Your biology hasn't caught up, and it may never fully catch up because the threat detection system you have was never built for accuracy. It was built for speed. A false alarm cost your ancestors almost nothing. A little wasted adrenaline, a moment of unnecessary fear, and then it passed. But a missed real threat could cost them everything. So evolution built you to be wrong often, on purpose, because being wrong in the direction of caution was so much cheaper than being wrong in the direction of carelessness. You are the descendant of the most anxious apes who ever lived. Not because anxiety made them happy. Because anxiety made them careful, and careful is what survived. Think about what this actually means for your daily life. That knot in your stomach before you open your bank app. That flicker of dread before you check your grades, your test results, your reviews. None of these things existed for most of human history. But the feeling you have in response to them is ancient. You're using a Stone Age alarm system to process a digital age inbox. And the alarm doesn't just sound once. It lingers. This is another piece the ancient system never had to account for. In the wild, a threat resolved quickly. The leopard either appeared or it didn't. The sound in the grass was explained within seconds, one way or another. Your body was built for short bursts of fear followed by relief or action, not for hours of unresolved dread while a message sits unread on a screen. Modern uncertainty doesn't resolve in seconds. It can stretch for minutes, hours, sometimes days. Your nervous system, however, doesn't know how to sit patiently inside that gap. It keeps firing the same signal over and over, as if the leopard is still somewhere in the grass, circling, never quite arriving and never quite leaving either. This is why waiting can feel almost physically exhausting. You're not imagining that fatigue. Sustained cortisol release, the kind triggered by prolonged uncertainty, taxes the body in ways a brief adrenaline spike never would. Your ancestors rarely had to endure fear for this long. You do it every time you wait for test results, or watch 3 dots appear and disappear on a screen, or sit outside an office before a performance review. There's also a reason this feeling seems to target the people you care about most, or the situations you care about most. The stakes matter. Your threat system isn't equally alert all the time. It calibrates itself based on what it perceives as consequential. A message from a stranger rarely produces the same chest-tightening response as a message from someone whose opinion of you could change your circumstances. Your brain isn't randomly anxious. It's selectively anxious, and it aims that selectivity at whatever it believes could actually affect your survival, socially or otherwise. That's the deeper truth hiding underneath all of this. Your nervous system was never just protecting you from lions. It was protecting your place in the group. For early humans, exile from the tribe was often a death sentence just as real as any predator. Being disliked, distrusted, or cast out meant losing access to food, protection, and cooperation. So your body learned to treat social threat with the same urgency as physical threat, because for most of your evolutionary history, they were functionally the same thing. This is part of why a single critical comment can outweigh a dozen kind ones in your mind. Your ancient brain isn't built to average feedback evenly. It's built to notice the one signal that might mean the tribe is turning against you, because missing that signal used to be catastrophic. A harsh word from your boss doesn't just feel like disappointing feedback. Somewhere underneath the modern context, it registers as a possible threat to your belonging. There's a reason this pattern shows up the same way across cultures, across continents, across centuries of human life. It isn't a personality flaw. It isn't something wrong with you specifically. Researchers studying stress responses in populations as different as Kenyan pastoralists, Japanese office workers, and American college students find the same underlying architecture. Different triggers, different customs, same racing heart, same tightened chest, same ancient alarm, wearing whatever costume the local culture hands it. That consistency is the clue. A response this widespread, this automatic, this hard to talk yourself out of, isn't a personal glitch. It's a shared inheritance. Every human alive today carries a nervous system shaped by ancestors who survived long enough to pass it on. And every one of those ancestors survived in part because they took uncertainty seriously. Knowing this doesn't make the racing heart stop, but it does change what you do with it. You can start to notice the gap between the signal and the story. The racing heart is real. It's honest. It's your body doing exactly what it evolved to do. But the story your mind builds on top of that signal, the assumption that the message is definitely bad, that the silence definitely means rejection, that the pause definitely means disaster, that story is not guaranteed. It's a prediction, not a fact. And predictions, as Lisa Feldman Barrett's research reminds us, are often built more from your past experiences than from the actual present moment in front of you. So the next time your chest tightens before you've even opened the message, understand what's actually happening. You are not broken. You are not overreacting in some unique personal way. You are running a program written by hundreds of thousands of years of ancestors who needed to survive sounds in the grass, uncertain social standing, and threats they couldn't yet see. Your heart isn't racing because of what the message says. It's racing because, for most of human history, not knowing was the most dangerous thing there was.